12 plus 13 by the time you get across the Mississippi in order to get there?
Well, we have stuff in Ohio that has yet to come in. Look, we're going to, my sense is by the time we get to the Mississippi River, we will be in that territory.
All right. George?
Well, I think Rahm is being very cautious right now, but what's going to be interesting to see is the rest of those seats in the state of Ohio. So far, the Democrats have only picked up one. They were hoping for 2 or 3 there. Yeah.
All right, Rahm Emanuel, it's going to be an interesting night. It'll be interesting to talk to you later on tonight or even tomorrow.
Right.
You've had a long, long year, and I suspect there's some relief when you get to this night. In 2 years,
Charlie,
right.
Don't cut me short. 2 years. I know all 22 months.
And you know these districts as well as anybody, having been chairman of the committee and trying to get to raise an awful lot of money, which you were able to do, and make so many races competitive.
There are some great candidates out there who gave a lot, they and their families and their constituents, and put a lot of on these people, and they've given a lot.
There has been a heartfelt effort both on the Democratic and Republican side in so many Senate and House seats. All right, Rahm, thanks very much. And our coverage of Vote 2006 will continue in a moment. Stay with us.
Across America, people have cast their votes. ABC Vote 2006 will return in a moment.
You know what? Tuesday is Election Day. You folks ready to vote?
Yeah.
Yep, it's all over, but the crooked vote counting now.
John Kerry, he said something very silly about Iraq, which I think John Kerry is he's kind of about 2 years ahead of himself. He's already campaigning to lose the next presidential election.
Dick Cheney said last night on Fox News that in the past few weeks, Republican candidates are picking up speed. They're picking up speed. Yeah, that tends to happen when you're going downhill real fast. You pick up speed.
Election night in America. Live coverage of ABC Vote 2006 continues. Here again, Charles Gibson.
The late-night comedians who have had some fun with these elections for quite some time now, and they'll probably have some fun with the results after tonight as well.
There, you see it on Sunday.
We have been talking so much about switches, where seats are going from the Republicans to the Democrats, but there is good news to report for a lot of Republicans. Districts that the Democrats had been hoping to pick up. We should mention some of those. The 2nd District of Kentucky. This is another House race where the Democrats had hoped to make a gain. Ron Lewis is the incumbent. We can project that he will defeat Mike Weaver in the 2nd District of Kentucky. This is a heavily George Bush district, and it would have been a great surprise if the Democrats had been able to pick it up, but they had hopes. They put money into it. 82% of the precincts reporting, and Lewis has been reelected. In the 4th District of Kentucky, Jeff Davis, who is a freshman congressman, had just 1 term, a West Point grad, actually speaks Arabic, which I think is interesting. Jeff Davis has been reelected, defeated Ken Lucas. He beat Davis 4 years ago and then retired, but Davis this time has beaten Ken Lucas. This again is Jeff Davis is an interesting candidate because it was 2 years ago that he defeated, when he got to the House for his first term, he defeated a fellow by the name of Nick Clooney.
Nick Clooney, and you know who that is?
Nick Clooney is the father of.
You got it.
Father of George.
And you're right about Kentucky. The Democrats had poured money into all 3 seats in Kentucky. Were only able to pick up 1.
Right. And in the 2nd District of Virginia, another freshman Republican representing that district, Thelma Drake, Phil Kellum. The Democrats had hoped to defeat her with Kellum. He kept calling Iraq a mess. She was a strong supporter of the war, but this is a very military district. It's down in the Norfolk and Virginia Beach area. There is so much defense contracting down there and defense bases, etc. And we can project with 98% of the precincts reporting, she has defeated Kellum in the 2nd District of Virginia. All 3 of those are holds for the Republicans. Now, I mentioned when we were talking to Rahm Emanuel that Republicans were actually doing fairly well against Democrats in a couple of districts in Georgia. These are districts that the Republicans hope to win from the Democrats. And there in the 8th District of Georgia, Jim Marshall is ahead now of Mac Collins, 51 to 49. That was 63% of the precincts to report. And then in the 12th District of Georgia, we have there John Barrow, and the Republicans really had hoped to beat him with Max Burns. The president went into Georgia 3 different times campaigning for the Republicans, and now Barrow has pulled ahead with 71% of the precincts reporting.
This is their single best hope for a pickup in the country tonight. They're still holding out some hope, but if they lose that, it will be a disappointment.
And we have one other switch, I'm told, to the Democratic Party to report. This is in the 22nd District of Florida. Clay Shaw, who has been in the Congress, well, I think since Grover Cleveland was president. He's been around a long time, a good member of the House. Clay Shaw's a highly respected member of the House, and Klein has beaten him.
This is a very, very important race, Charlie. Clay Shaw, as you say, a senior member of the House, a senior member of the Ways and Means Committee. His district was redrawn a couple of years ago to make it more Republican, so he'd be even safer. Democrats poured a lot of money into this one, but they weren't counting on it absolutely. This is a big, big pickup for them.
Well,
in Florida.
we just did project that race, which now takes the Democrats to +8. And Koki was talking about low-hanging fruit. Clay Shaw is not low-hanging fruit.
That isn't. That's a competitive district, a Republican district, and one Republicans have wanted to keep. Democrats have targeted. You know, eventually we'll see the final number, but that is a big piece. It's in Florida, a battleground state, and as you said, it's a respected member, a well-funded member, someone who knew he would have a tough race, worked all year to save himself, wasn't able to do it.
So that's 2 districts now that the Republicans have lost to the Democrats in the state of Florida, and we can now project that the Democrats have picked up 9 seats. There's a 9th seat that's come, or is that the Shaw? Is Shaw the 9th seat? I'm sorry, just call it out to me.
Pennsylvania 7.
Pennsylvania 7 we can now call. Let's take, do we have that, the board on that race? Pennsylvania 7 we can now project as going from the Republicans to the Democrats. This is Curt Weldon, again, who has been around a number of terms, losing to Joe Sestak, a retired admiral who was in the Navy for 31 years. Weldon also got touched by scandal. It doesn't help when 3 weeks before the election you can have on television pictures of FBI agents carrying equipment out of your daughter's house. There were accusations that are still being investigated that Weldon has thrown influence to his daughter's lobbying firm. The FBI is investigating, and that gave Joe Sestak a big boost. And Joe Sestak was on the National Security Council for Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton probably cared more about this race than any other race in the House.
So did John Kerry. Curt Weldon hung in there right up until the end, until that 3 weeks. The minute the FBI investigation became public, the bottom dropped out of that campaign.
So with Sestak's victory in Pennsylvania and with Klein's victory over Shaw in Florida, the Democrats have now picked up 9 of the 15 seats that they need to gain control of the House.
Getting very, very close, Charlie, and it really does look like Pennsylvania is one of the key stories of the night. We don't have all the seats left. I mean, projected yet in Pennsylvania. Still a couple of seats hanging out there in Philadelphia. We haven't completely called the Sherwood seat there, but you're looking at a potential pickup for the Democrats there. 2 to 5 seats, a big win for them in the Senate, a big win for them in the governor's race by Ed Rendell. That has become a key state for the Democrats.
And Republicans have a real hope to pick up a number of seats in New York. We don't have results there yet. And we're also looking for more seats. They are looking for more seats, perhaps in the state of Ohio. And you mentioned Pennsylvania as well. So our coverage of Vote 2006 will continue, and we hope you'll stick around. Our entire election team is going to be here all night. We'll be on when Nightline begins, and we have a special edition of Nightline, as a matter of fact, with election results. So we thank you for staying with us so far. Hope you'll continue to do so through the night.
ABC Vote 2006 will continue in a moment.